We're back. Steve and Alyssa here, and today we're going to make
vegan air fryer mushroom carnitas.
That's right.
This recipe is amazing, and best yet, it's so versatile because you can use it in a taco, in a burrito, on top of nachos, or even for a healthy option, put it in a lettuce wrap.
And it's a true meatless makeover. For this recipe, you really don't need too much. This is what you're going to need. Okay, to start off, you're going to need king trumpet mushrooms, an onion, and then for the marinade, you're going to need orange juice, vegan Worcestershire sauce, lime, coriander, cumin, black pepper, smoked paprika, and garlic powder.
First, you're going to make your marinade. So in a medium to large bowl, you can just add all of your marinade ingredients. The bowl needs to be large enough. You can start that if you want. For the marinade, but also for the mushrooms and the onions once they're prepared. So all the spices. This marinade is nice and smoky, but it's also a little bit sweet because of that orange juice. So it's really tasty.
Okay, and what I'm doing, I'm using a fork to shred the mushrooms lengthwise. And you can use a fork. You can also use your fingers, but it's going to look a little something like that when you're all done. It might take a little time, but it's completely worth it. And after you're done shredding your mushrooms, you're going to slice half of a red onion to about the same thinness that your shreds are, so everything cooks at about the same time.
Yep. Once you've added all of your marinated ingredients, just kind of stir it or use a whisk to make sure all of the spices are evenly distributed and not clumped together. It smells so good already.
Mm-hmm. And so the length of the mushroom is real easy to shred. You might have a little problem with the cap, and you can break it up with your fingers if you want, or just use a little knife, just like that.
I'll start helping. This is really the most time-consuming part of the whole recipe, is shredding the mushrooms.
Yeah.
But it's worth it because when they're in the shreds, they really do soak up the marinade. And as we mentioned before, it's a great meatless makeover because when they're shredded, they still have that nice mushroom meaty texture, but they really replicate like a shredded pork.
Mm-hmm.
So, any other tips as far as the mushrooms?
They really do vary in size. So whatever you have at your grocery store, I don't think is a big deal as long as you can find these great mushrooms.
Mm-hmm. I will say though, at least for us in the city in Brooklyn, we're finding them more and more. In the past, we only used to find them at like the Asian markets when we go there, but now they're carrying them at our normal grocery store.
Okay.
So just sometimes, as we mentioned, the size really does vary. Sometimes we'll get them and they're like tiny, other times they're really big.
Right.
So this recipe though, it really doesn't matter because you're just shredding them up anyway. So any size will work. This is looking good.
Perfect.
The other element that we love about this recipe is by using the air fryer, which we are big fans of.
Mm-hmm.
It turns out so nice and crispy, but yet it's still healthy because you only need to use
just a tablespoon.
Yeah, a tablespoon of oil. But in the fryer, that coats everywhere and just makes them extra crispy. This one's a little tough. If you get to a mushroom that's a little tough, you can also cut that off. Sometimes the stem especially can be a little extra tough. We'll leave that part out. So,
almost done here.
Yep. Oh, and if you can't find the king trumpet mushrooms, you can also use other mushrooms too. So oyster mushrooms are a great option.
Yeah, or thinly sliced portobellos would work.
Yep. Or even shiitake mushrooms also would work. you would just cut those ones a little bit. The oyster are a great one too because they naturally kind of are in the small little shreds. So, which is what we want for this recipe.
Okay.
I don't know if I could pick. Could you pick a favorite mushroom? I like all mushrooms, which is funny because when I was young, I used to hate mushrooms. Probably like everybody. You get old and you know your tastes change.
Yeah. I don't know if I have a favorite. These are so versatile though. You can cut these into chunks and make like a vegan scallop.
Also really good. We have quite a few recipes using the king trumpet mushrooms.
Okay. Now I'm just going to slice up this onion. Try not to get tears.
Oh, I also really like lion's mane mushrooms.
Those are hard to find.
They're really hard to find, but when you do, they're so good. And I'm really excited because I actually found some and they're in our fridge right now. That might have to be a future recipe. When you're on a plant-based diet, mushrooms are just so great. They're amazing flavor, but then also that texture sometimes you miss without having the meat was really good. So while he's cutting up that onion, go ahead and start to add the shredded mushrooms into our marinade. Oh, yeah. Probably should have. That's all right. Feel easier if I lifted up the cutting board, but this works too.
Yep. I'm almost done here too. I'm just making a couple little cuts.
Yeah, and the marinade is just going to kind of soak into the mushrooms, which is what makes them nice and crispy and gives them so much flavor. So just stir it around to make sure that all the mushrooms are coated.
Okay, I'm gonna break up some of this in here. My onion was kind of big. I might not use the whole half.
Yeah. Sure, they're kind of shreds are separated. And then once they're coated, it just needs to sit for about 10 minutes or so. If you have extra time, you can let it sit a little longer, but 10 to 15 minutes is plenty. Boop. Oh, man. All right, you didn't see that.
It's okay. Okay.
Luckily, it's a nice clean counter.
And now we're just gonna let that sit.
Yep. So now it's all coated. You can kind of see. Yep. And we'll just let it sit for, as we mentioned, about 10 minutes.
Before it goes into the air fryer.
Yep.
Okay, we've let this sit for 10 minutes, and now we're gonna put it in a preheated air fryer. There's a tablespoon of oil in here already, and it was there during the preheating process, so everything is all set. And now what we're gonna do is give this one last stir, and we'll add it to our air fryer. All right. Just like to be very careful. You can hear it's super hot. So be careful. Get every last little bit. We don't want to waste any. All right. Good. And now just let that sit for 15 to 20 minutes. Check it 2 or 3 times during the cooking and give it a nice stir, so make sure everything's cooking evenly, and we'll be all set. There you have it. Vegan air fried mushroom carnitas. And I have to say, it smells amazing in here.
So good. While they're cooking, it was like, are they ready yet? But anyway, while they were cooking, we actually also prepped our ingredients for what we were going to serve it with. Today, we're just doing a simple lettuce wrap. But of course, you know, like we said, you can use these for anything. So while they cook, then you just get everything else ready. We're going to serve it with a little bit of chopped fresh cilantro, some radish, some avocado in our lettuce wraps. So
just make sure when they're cooking to check them periodically. I'd say right around the 10-minute mark, because they do cook quick. And we checked ours like right around 10 minutes and they were fine. And then a minute later, they got extra crispy. But they're still going to be delicious. We can't wait.
Yeah, they're good either way, whether they're crispy or not. But yeah, keep an eye on them. So, maybe I'll add a little squirt of lime. No, lettuce wraps aren't the easiest thing to eat, so I apologize in advance if things start falling out. But
Okay.
I'm excited.
Let's try this. So good. Smokiness and a little sweet from the orange juice.
That sweetness really does come through. But the texture, that crispiness, and like the meatiness, like we mentioned, of the mushrooms, out of this world. I would have this every day of the week.
Please let us know if you made this down in the comments. You can visit the website for the full recipe and step-by-step pictures.
We hope you like it as much as we do. And please, 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 if you do try it, just let us know. We love food a lot, so we love to hear when other people love it too, or if you have questions, we're more than happy to answer too.
Thanks for stopping by.
Take care.